Howdy y'all, Joe Hills here, recording as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee, and as you can tell, the moon is falling out of the sky. I don't know why, but it does it every day. In Minecraft, the moon and the sun are diametrically opposed, so they never get close. But you know, that's not the way that it is here on Earth, out in the actual reality. I don't know what to call the real world anymore, because there's going to be a movie called Actual Reality that takes place in an alternate reality one day, and it's just going to get weirder. So, whatever. Earth... Are we 616 in Marvel? I don't even know. Bye-bye, moon. Anyway, I'll see you soon. I'll see you on Monday in front of the sun. It'll be a pretty good day. If you guys have been keeping up with my series thus far, where we are building the walls around Ravenloft Castle, which was originally imagined by Tracy and Laura Hickman, you'll know that in the last episode, I got this part of the first tower built. I laid these first 3 stones, and I counted out from the entrance how far away I thought, the entrance gate to the front entrance of the castle should be. You know what? I'd rechecked my math. All of that was wrong. So last night I ripped up a lot of that and actually replaced this slightly forward. In fact, some would say too far forward. I've got half a mind to just actually fix this again. Actually, you know what? Mind had. We're just gonna... So I've been using these torches to mark out the grid squares on the original map, which are 10 by 10, but the walls are infinitely thin, which causes problems. But you know what? I can do this. I'm an adult, mature professional, and I was looking at possibly having the individual rooms have independent grids to make things simpler, but in terms of getting the actual front of the castle right, I'm going to need to just kind of have some things be a little bit altered. So, just to kind of walk you through a quick tour of what I've already laid out. This is the foyer that we talked about yesterday's episode, and it's going to have 4 gargoyles looking down on the people who walk through it in like niches or sconces up above. I don't know if, no, sconces are for torches, but if wishes were torches, gargoyles would hide? Maybe. Okay, so anyway, so these walls are going to end up going up about 30 feet. Like, that's a lot of feet, you guys might say. That's about 18 blocks. So I'm not necessarily going to do all that right now, especially because these are not necessarily the materials I want to make the walls out of. But I do want to give you a sense that, like, this is the first place when you're coming into the castle to, like, get out of the rain. And it's going to have a high ceiling, but it's not actually very big because the main front doors to the castle are going to be right here. The ceremonial front doors actually are going to be like crazy wide and 30 feet tall, and they're going to be flung open like this diagonally. And I'm just going to use big planks, I think, for that. So we'll have those doors come out this way. Then we've got kind of this hall. There will be a big stairwell leading up this way. Over here, you can turn and go down a spiral stairwell toward the dungeons or kitchens or whatever. Gonna have the main dining room right in here. There's also some defensive fortifications. Like, this wall wouldn't actually be traversable in the normal game, but there's gonna be like this hallway that archers would use to get to the arrow slits that are gonna be carved into the wall here, hewn right here and here. So I'm gonna use slabs and stairs to make these arrow slits actually smaller and have them be able to, like, look into the courtyard here so that they could actually be of defensive value. But these should be pretty neat when they're done. I also did a little bit of additional grass work and landscaping just to kind of avoid having all of this be a giant pit, but as you can see, a lot of this is still a giant pit. But that's enough that I can kind of come through here and have it not be terrible. It's unfortunate the dining room doesn't have any real windows, but in order for these defensive fortifications like these are going to have some pieces missing too. In order for the defensive element of the castle to work, I guess the dining room is just not an ideal place to have big windows. You want to have the outside of the castle be dedicated to, dang it, defensive spaces. Let's try, dang it, I fell further that time. That was worse. Dang it, okay. We're just going to eat this food. Okay, let's go up to here. You'll also notice that I've got this tower actually built to the full height that it will be at. I wanted to get a sense of how it will connect with the walls, and this is actually, this tower and its, would it be a sister tower, brother tower? I don't know, some other tower. This is a kind of, externally speaking, the building is symmetrical along the long axis here. So this tower and the other one that'll go over there will both be taller than the outer walls, but they'll actually be the lowest towers in the castle. There are several other towers that will go way up to the build height. So we'll start on those later. I'm going to have to do a lot of measuring about those to make sure that I get them absolutely right, because I don't want to place like 8,000 blocks and find out I was off by one. That will be embarrassing. So anyway, that's what I've been working on so far with the castle here. As you can tell, I've got a lot of blocks and stuff, but now that I've gotten at least one structure in place, I think what I'm going to do is make that first archery room there a temporary building materials hut, because we have so much stuff, just chests full of stuff, and I think that one of these chests is full of chests. There it is. That one's the best. So let's just run back over here real quick and set up a just provisional storage area for our provisions. Dang it, horse, jump over that. This is like the poorest jumping horse I've ever seen in Minecraft. Wow. Okay, never mind, horse. We will go the long way. See, that was fun. Okay. But anyway, it strikes me that this is a viable place to just shove a bunch of chests for the time being. And let's cover this up so mobs don't just come in. But I wanted to show you roughly where those windows would go. And I also wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the eclipse coming up. I am super excited about this. Some of you guys may remember that I went to an event in Washington, D.C., and I promised I was going to make videos about it. And I've been crazy busy. So this is going to be kind of, with the eclipse coming up like next week on Monday, we're running out of time. So I might not make the amazing, beautiful, absolutely gorgeous video that I had in my dream head, but that's, there's an expression that perfect is the opposite of done, and it is getting way too late for anything that isn't the opposite of done. We need done. So, wow, this horse is not very fast either. This is, maybe I should ride that horse. Is this horse better? This horse seems faster. Can you jump higher? Whoa, that horse seems like he can jump higher. Okay, great. I'm realizing as I make all these trips to and from the main entrance of the castle back to my portal that not having a real path to the castle is going to be more and more of a hassle. So I'm thinking I should do that. I've also been thinking about how much of the supporting areas of kind of the Ravenloft setting I want to build. Because in some ways, it would be cool to build the entire village of Barovia, but I think it might be better if I just built the castle and have the game start maybe inside the dining room of Death House, and we actually play it kind of like a traditional tabletop role-playing game, where we're sitting around a table podcasting almost, and once people leave the village of Barovia, I tell everybody, okay, follow me, and then we leave the room and walk over to the Zare Pool encampment, which is where the Vistani have set up. Because there's like 3 key locations in the Ravenloft setting. There's the village of Barovia, there's the Zare Pool encampment, and then there's Castle Ravenloft. So building all of the village of Barovia would be insane. Building the Zare Pool encampment would be much more reasonable. I could probably place it somewhere along a road that you might take to approach the castle. So I could set up the Zare Pool encampment possibly on the sides of the mountains, like over here. Just like somewhere that you can kind of, I think that you're supposed to be able to see the castle from the Zare Pool encampment. I think it's supposed to like loom over you. So just filling in one of these gravel pits with some water and putting some wagons around it while having the castle up there. Which, like I said, these are the shortest towers in the castle. This thing is going to be massive. That'll be a really good visual element. So, setting up a way to move the game first from the Death House setting, which kind of establishes Barovia village, but doesn't necessarily require doing the whole thing, over to the Zerapool encampment, and then over to Ravenloft Castle. Should be pretty good. So, what we need to do now, though, is we need to run and grab more stone, because it turns out that this castle needs a ton of stone. Who knew? I knew. And that's actually one of the reasons I used the Boron stone brick, because I knew that I would need a million pieces of it. And actually, let's put our horse in the stable here so we don't lose it. We are back in the community area where there are chests that were once completely full of stone. And I've done a good job of emptying or moving a whole bunch of them. But I think there's still a little bit of stone left. There's some now. That could be worse. Is this actually the end? Oh, wow. We are almost completely out of stone bricks, which is not ideal as somebody who needs a ton of stone bricks, but it'll get me started. So let's go ahead and grab that and the rest of these. I'm thinking that what I might end up doing is for significant portions of the floor, just using andesite or granite. Wow. Okay, we're out of that too. That's pretty new. People have really been depleting this, which is fine. I mean, it's here for them to use, but how much cobble do we have? Still a million. So maybe I should just grab a ton of cobble, too, and just start cooking it all up, I guess. But anyway, so that should hold us. Oh, dang it. You know what? While we're here, I am kind of curious about this path. Does this actually now lead to the underground area? Oh, that is so cool. Scar, you've outdone yourself again. So we got multiple beacons right there. I love how you get glimpses of the landscape, but you don't get to see the whole thing just as you go through here. I don't like how I'm getting hit by an arrow from a skeleton. There he is. So I'll have to be wary of creepers here, clearly. But okay, so we got more beacons on that side. Yeah, this is pretty awesome. I think Good Times with Scar did a good job with this. It's funny because I'm like, I'm doing this amazingly huge build, and then it's like, well, but so is he. But his is all organic and completely original, whereas, you know, I'm building off of something somebody else did, and it's very rigid in structure. But, you know, that's fine. We all do our own things. But we'll come back here once the plot auction actually occurs, because we're going to be able to bid on plots around here and build our own shops down there. So that should be fun. So where are we going? Back to the portal. Anyway, I don't know. So I keep coming back to wanting to talk about the eclipse, but I'm thinking maybe I should hold that off to the next video and just do a video that's just about the eclipse, whereas in this one I'm doing a lot of architectural stuff. So, yeah, sorry about that, but keep an eye out. There are a ton of cool things going on, though, and you should definitely, if you're going to be anywhere in North America, you can use anything with a bunch of small holes in it, or a single small hole even, as a pinhole projector. So, like, if you have a colander or a spaghetti strainer, you can take that outside during the partial portion of the eclipse, and it'll, like, spray projections of the sun being partially occluded by the moon. Like, just try that. Anyway, there's your eclipse tip with Joe real quick. But we have so much more building to do. And in particular, what I want to do is to establish how the castle connects to the walls. Now, this is going to make some sense once we actually get it built, but right now it looks kind of silly. So now that we're back, we're going to go ahead and start using some of that stone in order to establish the connections between the castle and the outer side walls. Now, defensively speaking, I'm not sure how actually advantageous it is to have a 90-foot high wall running from the side of your castle to the side of your outer wall. It seems like at that point, if somebody managed to climb the outer wall, they could just run along this to get into the castle, which maybe that was part of what Tracy and Laura Hickman were imagining when they designed the castle was like, most people are going to go through the front door, and that's a totally valid way to play. But other people might want to try something crazier, and being able to take advantage of that would be fun. So basically, that part right there is going to be part of a walkway that connects the outer walls to the castle walls. And in the original design, the castle walls are much closer to the outer walls. I accidentally made the walls a little bit too far away. So I've still centered the castle within that rectangle that's made by the outer walls, but I'm not going to be able to necessarily have everything be exactly proportional in the courtyards. I would rather have a little bit more green space around the castle in the courtyards, though, than potentially like mess up the actual dimensions of the castle itself. But anyway, so I guess we have two options here. We can go 90 feet up, pillar by pillar, or I can go 2-2, 2-2, 2-2. And that's the sort of thing that's really kind of like, this is better for time lapses in some ways, but actually the other one works in time lapses too. So it's kind of like, well, what does it matter?
Who's the guy who can conquer death? That's Joe Hills. He plays for Nashville when he plays Minecraft. That's Joe Hills. That's Joe Hills.
Well, at this point, we have got the walls in place, roughly, for this part of the castle. Now, there are going to be additional things cut into here, windows and rooms and things like that, that we're going to go build, basically, the rooms from the inside and then cut the windows out of this. So, don't worry, guys. It's not going to be this boring when we're done with it. We're just trying to get the rough walls in place so that we have a good idea of what to expect. You know what? I'm looking at that there, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, that'll actually come out on that side too. So that's going to be centered looking when we're done with it. We're just not done with it like everything else here. But once again, wanted to show how huge this place is. Gigantic castle. Massive castle. Big. But anyway, a lot of work to do yet. Probably still need to... I might as well probably start getting started on these paths on the walls. I'm a little worried about once I actually start laying out the stairs, I might have to adjust the heights of the interior rooms slightly in such a way that it'll interact oddly with the way that we've connected that to the wall. So I kind of don't want to do too much with the very tops of the walls in case we have to knock them down a couple meters. Ideally, we should not have to do that, but we'll have to see. So anyway, until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring.